Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the Under Armour Curry 305, or I guess Curry brand 305. This shoe is very cheap. It's only 80 bucks, very cheap, and if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get started off with the tracciones. The traction is solid. You know, if you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna have a solid bite. If you're playing on a dusty setting, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I still did need to wipe. It picked up a little bit of dust. I would say maybe like every 3 to 4 plays I did need to wipe. But it's not that frequent. It doesn't pick it up that fast, so it wasn't a huge deal for me. It's just kind of like your average, like, I just gotta wipe a little bit, you know? So yeah, I mean, I had no issues with it. This traction pattern is pretty interesting. We got a lot of squiggly lines. It reminds me of, like, you know, the optical illusions a little bit, and there are some flex screws here in the forefoot as well as here in the heel. I don't know why you would need flex screws here in the heel, because your heel, I mean, the anatomy of the foot, you don't really flex here in the heel. But anyways, the traction is phenomenal. You know, clean court, really nice. Dust, you're gonna need to wipe a little bit, but it wasn't a huge deal. And also, if you let too much dust build up, it's not super dangerous. You have a little bit of a worse bite. It's not to the point where like you slide out like crazy and it's dangerous. So that's a plus as well. As far as durability goes, I did not play on an outdoor court. I'm done playing on outdoor courts. Like my knees and my legs, I don't know, they just really can't take it anymore. But anyways, I have an option to go to an indoor gym now. Fully use that. You know what I mean? So take this with a grain of salt, but I don't think it's going to be the best for durability. There are some thin spots here in the rubber outsole where it's really thin, very soft, and there are some thicker parts where it's thinner. I definitely think the rubber won't like last that long, you know. So durability probably isn't going to be the best on the outdoor court, but the traction overall is solid. I really liked it. Alright, moving on to the heel to toe transition. Very smooth. I love how this shoe feels when you're running on the court, right? So fully exposed midsole, so it doesn't feel clunky or anything because the midsole can compress. And we have a very nice curve shape here in the heel, as well as here in the forefoot. Like, look at that. Super nice curve shape here in the forefoot. And you have a lot of forefoot flex. So it just feels very fluid when you're running on the court. I love it. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. That's one of my favorite parts about this shoe, and it's full length micro G, and it feels like old school micro G, you know what I mean? So the micro G, it gives you a good amount of compression. It's soft, but it also gives you a little bit of bounce back. You know, I wouldn't say it's as bouncy as like React, but it has a nice subtle bounce. I really like it. So here in the heel, it's super comfortable. I liked it. Here in the forefoot, it's pretty dead. There's not a whole lot of compression. You don't really feel a whole lot of cushion here in the forefoot, but that's pretty normal. You feel very low to the ground. It's a very responsive cushioning setup, but impact protection is really nice. So overall, it's a really good cushioning setup if you want a very responsive cushion that's low to the ground, but you get good impact protection here in the heel, and overall it's a very soft and comfortable cushioning setup. So the micro G in the 305 is really nice. I was very surprised. So props to Under Armour, or I guess Curry brand, for doing it right here in a budget shoe. $80, right? All right, now moving on to the materials. So for an $80 shoe, we have like a mesh material. Here in the toe box, it's extremely thin, and I love how it feels on foot because it feels cozy and it feels comfortable, but also it gives you a good amount of support because we have like this fuse here covering the toe box area, and here on the lateral side, the ankle area, and the medial side, we have some synthetic leather for support. And the synthetic leather like parts don't really like hinder the movement of the material all too much, so it doesn't feel like stiff, it doesn't feel uncomfortable or anything. They put the material or where it needs to be, where like it feels comfortable with the movement of your foot, you know? So like I said, the mesh material feels super thin. And then coming to the tongue has an average amount of padding, and on the bottom of the tongue we have a lot of open mesh. Here in the ankle area we have like very little padding, but like you have a good amount of padding here where your Achilles is, so that feels nice on the Achilles. But here on like the left and right sides of the ankle, there's very minimal padding. So for the most part, it's a very comfortable material. It feels cozy. It's also pretty damn thin. So yeah, for an $80 shoe, it's a very nice material and it feels great on foot. All right, moving on to the fit. Also, the fit is one of my favorite parts about the shoe, right? So I went true to size and it fits me like a glove. I mean, I guess Curry and I have a very similar foot shape or something. So for length, true to size, and I was good to go. And then for the toe box, it fits very snug, and that feels really, really nice. Not to the point where it's like too snug, like the KD13, like the Kyrie 7, it's like really, really snug. I would say it's a little bit looser than that. And also once you break in the material, it does stretch out a little bit over time because it is this like soft mesh material. So if it's a little bit tight at first, just give it a little bit of time and it'll stretch out. And then for the width, I would say it's slightly narrow. And also I really like the tongue. The tongue just like on top of my foot feels very, very cozy. And yeah, the fit for me was phenomenal. If you have a wide foot or you want a roomier fit in your shoes, probably go up half a size or maybe even a full size. One thing that was annoying though was this mid cut, right? So as you guys can see, it's not a low, it's not really a mid either. It's like a low mid a little bit. It kind of like dips down here where your ankle bone is a little bit. But then like this part right here, and also kind of like in the Achilles, it would dig in a little bit, right? It wouldn't hurt though because there is some there's actually soft padding there. So that feels nice, but it would dig in a little bit and just kind of like hinder ankle movement a little bit and also feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? So, I mean, it's nice because it wasn't painful, but also it wasn't nice because it was a little annoying. You know, I definitely noticed it. So just watch out for that. But once you keep playing in it, you know, you break it in, give it a couple of days, you won't notice it as much. I definitely only noticed it like the first couple of times that I was playing it. So it's not a huge problem, but that's something that I noticed. All right, moving on to support and lockdown. I had no issues with lateral containment. You know, as you guys can see here on the lateral side of the shoe, the synthetic leather material comes up here, kind of like at the edge of the toe. So you have a good lateral containment there. Here in the midfoot, the foam does come up a good amount. And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, I had zero issues. Your foot is not going to come out of the footbed at all. For lateral stability, I mean, Curry, of course, he's known for having ankle problems. I don't think he's rolled his ankle for quite a while though, which is a good thing, obviously. And of course, as you guys know, Curry, most of his shoes have been lows. So of course, I mean, ankle protection, like a high top will like help you a little bit. But for the most part, if you step on someone's foot, you're gonna roll your ankle, right? And one way to prevent that is to have a very wide and low to the ground base. And the Curry 305 does a pretty good job of that, you know? It doesn't really have an outrigger, like a crazy outrigger, but the outsole and midsole do protrude out a good amount here on the lateral side of the forefoot. So I had good lateral stability. Like I said, you do get a little bit of ankle movement restriction, just a tiny bit. It's just a little bit more annoying because, like I mentioned, it does dig into your like ankle bone and stuff like that a little bit. So just watch out for that. But ankle support is not that good. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. I'm guessing like average. Yeah, so 12.24 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter than average, like 0.2 ounces. So pretty much average weight. How does this shoe feel? It feels really, really good. It feels like a little bit heavier and a little bit cozier version of the Curry 8 because of like the tongue has a little bit more padding and stuff like that. So the traction is solid. Cushion is comfortable but also responsive. The material is very minimal. I had no issues with support and the shoe fit me very well. So I mean, when I was playing it, it just felt like the shoe was made for me and I just didn't have to worry about the shoe when I was playing it. You know, I just worried about playing basketball, which is definitely something that I look for in a basketball shoe, obviously. So it felt amazing when I was playing in it, and it's a very responsive and quick feeling shoe. All right, moving on to the ventilation. As far as the airflow goes, there's really no airflow. And then the material, I mean, it is thin and all that, but there is a little bit of foam to make the material feel a little bit cozier. So it's not the best for ventilation. Your feet are actually going to feel a little bit warm in this shoe, so just watch out for that. As far as the aesthetics go, I like it. You know, I like the look of the Curry 8, and I also like the look of the 305 or the 3Z5. I don't know why they call it that. The overall silhouette is pretty nice, and this colorway is sick. It reminds me of the Curry 2 suit and tie. There's also a black and gum, which is pretty sick. The gray and green colorway is kind of but I feel like this, look at this. That's a nice colorway, you know? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, for 80 bucks, this is a bang for your buck. Really, really good budget shoe. I mean, quality wise, not the best, obviously, synthetic leather and stuff like that, but the mesh isn't that bad. You're getting full length micro G, and micro G is a very nice foam, and it's just like a solid performer, you know. As you guys all know, like Under Armour, they just put together shoes really well, you know. And it's just like they don't use the best tech, they don't use the best materials and stuff like that, but like they just build the shoe up and just put everything together so that everything works together very well. And they did a really, or actually phenomenal job here on the Curry 305. I absolutely love this shoe, and it's one of my favorite shoes to play in as far as like a budget shoe goes. You know, there's like the Precision 5 and the KD Tray 5 line, and I feel like this shoe is like better than those, you know, and it also has better cushion. So yeah, 100% definitely check this shoe out. And like I said, it's super cheap too. So if you're trying to save money, great option. If you're not trying to save money, but you also want a great performer, this is also a really good option, right? And also, I feel like most people will enjoy it, but I feel like this shoe is specifically made more for guards. Obviously, Steph Curry is a guard. So if you're like a very quick player who needs a very lightweight and responsive shoe, this is an amazing option. So anyways, that about concludes my review of the Curry 305. Again, if you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. It's only $80. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.